Disclaimer: this story explores mature emotional themes including trust, temptation, and regret. It does not contain explicit material. Viewer discretion is advised. It started with a text message at 4:37 p.m. "You free? I need to get out of the house." That was Mia. We've been friends since college, close enough to know each other's childhood trauma, but not close enough to see each other every weekend. The kind of friendship that survives long silences and still picks up right where it left off. She was going through something with her boyfriend again, typical hot and cold mess, and I figured she just needed to vent over wine and pizza. Harmless. Normal. My husband, David, had just left for a work conference that morning. A 3-day leadership retreat out of town. We said our goodbyes at 6 a.m., sleepy hugs in the kitchen, and I promised to water his dying monstera plant while he was gone. That was our version of romance lately, half-finished sentences and errands for each other. So when Mia asked if she could swing by, it didn't feel like a decision. I just said yes. It was raining lightly when she pulled into the driveway, headlights casting long shadows against the garage. She let herself in, like always, and kicked off her boots at the door. Same Mia, a hoodie, messy bun, Diet Coke in hand. She gave me that look. The one that meant, "Girl, you're not going to believe what just happened." We talked. We laughed. We opened a bottle of red that David wouldn't have touched anyway. She sat cross-legged on the couch like it was her place, too. And in a way, it was. She had been here through every chapter. The breakups, the job changes, the late-night crises, even the night I told her David had proposed. Hours passed. The rain got heavier. Her phone buzzed once, probably him, and she silenced it without checking. She leaned her head back on the cushion, eyes half closed, and asked, "Do you ever wonder if this is it?" I asked her what she meant. She didn't answer. Just stared at the ceiling and let the silence hang. The thing about silence is that it gives you time to feel things you normally push aside. That's when something shifted. It wasn't dramatic or cinematic. No background music. Just a long, quiet look that lasted a second too long. And it was like a current passed between us, unspoken, heavy, dangerous. I didn't touch her. She didn't touch me. But the air changed. You know when you realize a boundary exists not because you crossed it, but because you're now towing the edge, breath held, asking yourself if you really want to go there? I looked away. She got up to grab another glass of wine. When she came back, her face was calm, unreadable. We kept talking like nothing happened. But I wasn't really there anymore. My thoughts had gone somewhere they shouldn't have. By the time she left, it was after midnight. I stood at the doorway, watching her taillights fade into the rain. I locked the door behind her, then stood there in the dark kitchen, listening to the soft drip of the faucet and the echo of things unsaid. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, there was a message from David. A photo of his hotel room. A little heart emoji. I stared at it for a long time before replying. Because here's the thing, I didn't do anything. Not technically. But I felt something I can't explain. And now I can't unfeel it. And then, 3 days later, Mia texted again. This time, she said, "Can we talk?" That's when everything really started to unravel. I stared at Mia's message longer than I should have. Can we talk? 3 words. Simple. Direct. But they carried weight now more than they would have a week ago. I didn't reply right away. I told myself I was busy, that I'd answer later. But the truth was, I didn't know what I wanted to hear. Or say. David came back that evening, suitcase in one hand, travel mug in the other. He kissed me, smiled, told me he missed me. I smiled back. Lied just a little. We ate leftovers, watched a show we'd already seen, and crawled into bed without much to say. Familiar. Comfortable. Numb. That's the thing about being married for 5 years. You learn how to perform love even when you're not sure you're still feeling it. You go through motions because they're easier than starting over. And David, he's not a bad man. He works hard, pays attention to details, remembers to charge my phone when I forget. But somewhere along the way, we stopped reaching each other. I thought about how Mia looked at me that night. Not like she wanted something from me, but like she saw me. Fully. Like I wasn't just someone's wife or someone's friend. Just me. We met freshman year. She was bold, unpredictable, the kind of person who could charm a whole room and still make you feel like the only one she noticed. I was more careful, quieter. Maybe that's why we worked. She filled spaces I didn't know were empty. Back then, people always asked if we were a thing. We weren't. Not officially. We shared secrets, beds during late-night horror movie marathons, and the kind of laughter that made your stomach hurt. But the line between friendship and something more? We never crossed it. We joked about it once, buzzed on cheap vodka in a dorm room. She said, if we're both still single at 30, let's just marry each other. We laughed. Moved on. I married David instead. She moved to the city. We drifted. Until she came back. Now here she was again, texting me with that same sudden gravity she always had. Can we talk? I waited a full day before replying. Yeah. When? Her answer came fast. Tonight? We met at a bar. Public. Safe. Neutral ground. She hugged me like she hadn't been in my living room 3 days ago. Ordered a drink. Didn't waste time. I need to tell you something, she said. Her eyes were steady, serious. My heart kicked up, but I kept my voice even. Okay. She hesitated. I've been trying not to say it for years because I didn't want to mess things up. But I can't keep pretending I don't feel it. I didn't breathe. I love you, she said. I think I always have. And that night at your place? I wasn't confused. I wasn't drunk. I wanted to kiss you. But I didn't because I knew it would wreck everything. The bar felt too loud. My chest felt too tight. I looked down at my drink, then back at her. I don't know what to say, I whispered. You don't have to say anything. I just couldn't keep it in anymore. I didn't sleep that night either. David was next to me, breathing softly, unaware. I turned my phone face down, stared at the ceiling. Every part of me was tangled in knots. I thought I had everything figured out. A good husband. A stable life. A home. But now I wasn't sure what was real, my marriage, or the part of me I buried a long time ago. The next morning, Mia sent one more text. Whatever you decide, I'll respect it. But don't lie to yourself just to protect something that's already fading. And that's when I realized I couldn't ignore it anymore. I didn't respond to Mia's message. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because I did. And saying it would make it real. The next few days were a blur of distractions. Laundry. Grocery runs. Work emails. David asked if I was okay. I told him I was tired. He didn't press. That's how we operate now, respecting each other's silences, or maybe just avoiding what's underneath them. I kept wondering if he felt it too, the space widening between us like hairline fractures in a glass that hadn't shattered yet. Then something strange happened. David came home from work earlier than usual. He dropped his bag by the door, didn't take off his coat, and stood in the kitchen like he was waiting to be let in. We need to talk, he said. My stomach flipped. That phrase never meant anything good. I nodded, heart thudding. He leaned against the counter, searching my face. While I was out of town, he began, I talked to someone. A colleague. She asked how I knew you were the one. And I couldn't answer. Not right away. I didn't speak. I just listened, bracing. He ran a hand through his hair. That scared me. I've always believed in us. But lately, I don't know. You've been distant. I've been going through the motions. I keep thinking, maybe we both are. This wasn't the confrontation I expected, but it hit just as hard. I still love you, he said. But I'm wondering if we're just holding on because we're afraid to let go. I stood there frozen, throat dry, trying to figure out whether to feel guilt, relief, or heartbreak. Maybe all three. I'm not asking for answers right now, he added. But I think we need to stop pretending everything's fine. That night, he slept in the guest room. I didn't message Mia. Not yet. Instead, I scrolled back through our old texts, birthday jokes, links to bad TV shows, late-night vents. Her name wasn't just attached to one feeling. It was tangled in years of memories, most of which I'd filed away as innocent until now. Then something else happened, an unexpected variable that changed everything. On Friday afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. I let it ring, then it buzzed again. Same number. This time, I picked up. "Is this Emily?" the voice asked. A woman. Calm, but clipped. "Yes, this is Claire. I'm Mia's sister." I blinked. "Is everything okay?" She paused. "I don't mean to overstep, but I found your number in Mia's phone. She's been staying with me for a few days. I think you should know she's not in a good place right now." My chest tightened. "What happened?" "She didn't tell you?" "No. I haven't talked to her since Monday." Claire sighed. "She's been off. Not eating, not talking much. She's not saying it, but I think she's waiting on you. She doesn't say your name, but I see it in how she checks her phone every 5 minutes." I didn't know what to say. Guilt slammed into me like a wave. "I'm not trying to push you," Claire said. "But if you care about her, please talk to her. She's not okay." That call cracked something open. This wasn't just about my marriage anymore, or some nostalgic what if. This was about someone who had held on to something real for years, and now she was unraveling, maybe because of me. I opened my messages, typed Mia's name. Then I stopped, because I didn't know what I was walking into, what I was walking away from. And I knew, whatever choice I made next, I couldn't undo it. I didn't sleep. Again. Claire's voice replayed in my head on a loop. "She's not okay. She's waiting on you." At 2:14 a.m., I sat on the bathroom floor with the lights off, my back pressed against the cold tile. I kept Mia's message open, thumb hovering over the keyboard, rewriting the same sentence 5 times before deleting it. How do you reach out to someone when your life is in pieces and you might be the one who broke them? David didn't ask questions in the morning. He made coffee for both of us, handed me a mug, and said he'd be out most of the day. There was a finality to it. Like he was giving me space, or a choice. By noon, I drove to Mia's sister's place. I didn't tell anyone I was coming. I just showed up, because the longer I waited, the more it felt like I was running from something that wouldn't stop chasing me. Claire answered the door, surprised but not unkind. "She's upstairs. Room on the left." No questions. No judgment. I climbed the stairs slowly, every step heavier than the last. When I reached the door, it was slightly open. I pushed it gently. Mia was sitting on the bed, knees pulled to her chest, hoodie sleeves covering her hands. Her hair was unwashed. Her eyes flicked up and then locked on mine. There it was again. That same look. No anger. No blame. Just raw, exhausted vulnerability. "I wasn't sure you'd come," she said quietly. I wasn't sure either. Silence stretched between us, thick and uncomfortable. "I didn't mean to mess things up for you," she said, voice cracking. "I thought I was okay just being your friend. But I wasn't. And now I've made everything worse." I walked in and sat beside her, not touching, just close enough to feel her shaking. "You didn't ruin anything, Mia. Things were already falling apart. I just didn't want to admit it." She looked at me, eyes red. "Do you love him?" The question cut straight through me. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. "It's okay," she said, pulling back. "You don't owe me anything." "I don't know what I feel right now," I said. "But I know I can't pretend anymore. Not with you. Not with him. And not with myself." She nodded slowly. "So what now?" And that was the question I couldn't answer. Because the truth is, I wasn't ready to leave my husband. Not because of guilt, but because he was part of my life, my identity, a constant. Letting go of him would be like erasing a version of myself I'd spent years building. But staying would mean burying something else that had clearly never died. Mia wiped her eyes. "You should go figure that out." With him. Without me in the picture. Her voice was steady, but I could see how much it cost her to say it. I don't want to lose you, I said. You already did. You just didn't notice. That hit harder than anything else. Because it was true. I left her room without saying goodbye. Because there was nothing left to say. When I got home, David was in the kitchen. He looked up from his laptop and said, "Did you see her?" I froze. He nodded, like he already knew. "I found her name in your phone history," he said calmly. "I didn't look at your messages. I didn't have to." My throat went dry. "I'm not mad," he said. "I just want to know, do I still have a place in your heart? Or are you already gone?" The room went quiet. The kind of quiet that crushes you. I opened my mouth to answer. But then the front door rattled. And someone knocked. 3 sharp knocks. Urgent. Uninvited. David looked at me. "Are you expecting someone?" I shook my head. And suddenly, I wasn't sure what was waiting on the other side. The knock came again, louder this time. David moved toward the door, but something in my gut told me to stop him. I stepped ahead, opened it myself. It wasn't Mia. It was her boyfriend, or ex, or whatever they were now. Jake. I barely recognized him out of his usual polished, Instagram-ready self. Disheveled hoodie, eyes bloodshot, holding his phone in one hand and a folded piece of paper in the other. Rain slicked his hair flat. "We need to talk," he said, voice low. Then his eyes flicked to David. "Both of you." David crossed his arms. "You want to tell me what the hell's going on?" Jake looked at me, jaw tight. "She didn't tell you?" "I don't even know why you're here," I said, pulse rising. Jake stepped inside without being invited, shoved the paper into my hands. "This is from Mia's journal. She left it open on her desk." I wasn't snooping. I read enough to know you should see this. I glanced down. Handwriting. Mia's. I recognized the looping ease immediately. David looked between us, confused but alert. I read the first few lines and my blood ran cold. "If anything happens to me, don't blame Emily. This isn't her fault. She doesn't know what I know." David grabbed the paper from me. "What is this?" Jake ran his hands through his hair. "She's been spiraling. Obsessed. Not just about you. About both of you. She thinks something happened that none of us remember." "What do you mean something happened?" Jake hesitated. "She says she was drugged. A year ago. At your anniversary party." David stiffened. "That night," Jake went on, "she claims she woke up in your guest room with bruises and no memory of how she got there. She thought she was just drunk. But lately, she's been piecing things together. And she thinks someone did something to her." I stared at him, stunned. "Why wouldn't she tell me that?" "She was scared," Jake said. "Ashamed. And then you got close again and she didn't know what to believe. But after the night she came here, she had a panic attack. She kept saying maybe it wasn't just about love. Maybe it was something darker." David dropped the page. "Are you saying she was assaulted?" Jake nodded. "She doesn't remember. But she thinks someone at the party, someone close, took advantage of her." I stepped back, feeling like the floor had vanished beneath me. That party. It was small. Just close friends. Some work people. Mia had stayed the night, but we all assumed she'd had too much to drink. No one questioned it. She laughed the next morning. Ate pancakes. Acted normal. She didn't want to believe it, Jake said. But now she's unraveling. And I think she came back here not just because of you, but because she wants answers. David looked pale. "Who was even at that party?" "Enough people," I whispered. "But no one who'd." I stopped myself. "Because that's what everyone says, no one who would ever do something like that." Jake stepped closer. "She's missing." I blinked. "What?" "She left Claire's place last night. Said she needed air. Never came back. Her phone's off. No one's heard from her." The room went silent, like the air had been sucked out. David picked up the journal page again, scanning it like it might offer a map. "You think she's gone looking for whoever did it?" Jake nodded. "Or maybe she already found them." I met David's eyes. And, for the first time, I saw real fear in them. This wasn't about a broken marriage or forbidden feelings anymore. This was about someone we loved, someone we failed, and a truth that had been buried in our lives so deeply, it was starting to claw its way out. We called the police before the panic could fully settle in. Jake paced in circles, knuckles white. David sat at the table, eyes locked on the page from Mia's journal, like staring hard enough might decode everything. I was on the phone with Claire, who hadn't heard anything since the night before. Her voice cracked when she asked if she should come over. I told her yes. I kept replaying that night over and over, the anniversary party. Music too loud, wine flowing too freely, people slipping in and out of conversations. Mia laughing, dancing, tipsy but happy, or so I thought. I remembered her hugging me goodnight. I remembered thinking it was sweet she stayed to help clean. I didn't remember what happened after that. Neither did she. That's what scared me most. By sunset, the search began to stretch. Mia's phone last pinged near the old boardwalk, just outside town. We drove there, no plan, just instinct. Jake drove. David sat in silence. I stared out the window, counting every minute like it might be our last chance. The boardwalk was nearly empty. Cold wind. Gray sky. A few shops still open, lights flickering through foggy glass. We split up. Jake went toward the beach. David stayed by the parking lot. I walked the length of the boardwalk, heart hammering, scanning every shadow. And then I saw her. Sitting at the edge of the railing, hoodie pulled tight, knees up, staring at the water like it might give her answers. She didn't turn when I approached. You scared the hell out of us, I said gently. I know, she whispered. You can't just disappear like that. She nodded, slow, still not looking at me. I needed to get away. I didn't trust what I was thinking. Why didn't you tell me? I asked, voice shaking. About the party. About what you went through. Because I didn't trust what I remembered either. And because I thought maybe, if I told you, I'd lose you. I sat beside her, the ocean wind biting at my skin. You never had to protect me, I said. I would have believed you. She finally looked at me. Even if it was someone you know? Someone you love. The question sat there between us, heavy and dangerous. And then she said something I didn't expect. I think it was Jake. I blinked. What? She pulled something from her hoodie pocket, an old photo. All of us from that night. Mia circled in red, sitting on the couch. Jake standing behind her, his hand on her shoulder. I kept thinking it was someone else. Someone random. But I remember the cologne, and I found a photo on his phone a few weeks ago. Of me. Sleeping. That night. He said it was just a joke. But her voice cracked. I don't think it was. My stomach turned. My first instinct was denial, but something in her eyes told me it wasn't paranoia. It was clarity. Painful, late, but real. I stood up. He's with David. Come on. We ran. Back to the lot. But when we got there, Jake was gone. David stood alone, looking around, confused. He said he needed air, he told us. That he'd be right back. We waited another 10 minutes. Then 20. He never came back. By the time the police were updated, he'd already left town. His phone went dead, car not found. But the truth had already unraveled enough to follow. Weeks passed. Investigations started. Mia gave her statement. So did I. The photo was handed over. And though nothing was resolved overnight, the lie we all lived with finally broke. David and I separated, peacefully, finally, honestly. Mia and I? We're not a love story. Not yet. Maybe never. But we're a truth now. And sometimes, that's all you can ask for. Or maybe, that's where it really begins. It's strange how something can fall apart and still leave space for something better to grow. In the weeks that followed, things changed. Quietly, but deeply. Jake was never found. The police kept the case open, but without a confession or hard evidence beyond the photo and Mia's testimony, he slipped through the cracks. He deleted everything from his phone, left his job, and vanished. Just like that. We never saw him again. But Mia found her voice. She started therapy, not just for the trauma she remembered, but for the years she spent doubting herself. She stopped apologizing for being messy, emotional, complicated. She let herself be angry and then, slowly, started healing. I stood by her. Not as a lover. Not at first. Just as someone who finally understood that loving someone also means showing up when it's hard. When it's uncomfortable. When the truth hurts more than the lie. David and I finalized our separation in early spring. We did it quietly. No yelling, no blame. Just two people who stopped pretending their stories still worked. He moved out of the house, took the dog, and started traveling more, something he'd always wanted but never pursued. We talk sometimes. There's no bitterness. Just a soft, mutual understanding that sometimes letting go is the kindest thing you can do for each other. As for me, I started over. I switched jobs. Smaller company, less money, more freedom. I started writing again, something I gave up years ago when I became someone's wife, someone's host, someone's picture perfect. And Mia? She lives down the street now. We have coffee on Sundays. We talk like people who've been to the edge and survived. Sometimes we sit in silence. And that silence, oddly enough, is where I feel most at peace. One day, she asked me, "Do you regret what happened?" I thought about it. About the night she came over. About the look in David's eyes when he realized we were already gone, even before we admitted it. About the journal page. The missing pieces. The moment we understood that love and pain can live in the same room. No, I told her. I regret not listening sooner. But I don't regret the truth. Because that's what this story became about, not romance, not betrayal, not even revenge. It was about truth. And the cost of silence. Sometimes, the people we trust the most are the ones who fail us. Sometimes, love isn't enough to fix everything. But healing begins the moment we stop pretending and start being real, with ourselves and with each other. If you've ever ignored your gut feeling because you didn't want to make things awkward. If you've ever chosen comfort over honesty or loyalty over your own well-being. Let this story remind you, you are not crazy and your pain is not too much. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is stop pretending everything's fine and let the truth burn its way to the surface. It hurts, but it clears the way for something better. So yeah, maybe my friend came over while my husband was away. But the real regret would have been never letting that moment open the door to everything I needed to face. Thanks for listening to the end. Now it's your turn. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like and subscribe if this resonated with you, and as always, take care of yourself and each other. We'll see you in the next one.